Welcome back to another episode of the End of an Era podcast. I'm your host, Elyse Fox, and I'm so excited to be here today. This is episode 5. Before I go any further, I set a goal that I want to reach 50 positive, 55-star reviews by the end of Women's History Month, which is the end of this month. We have about a week left. We're only about, I think last time I checked, we had about 12 positive reviews. So, well, there were 0 negatives, so that's a plus. But I want to get to that 50 mark. So before you go any further, please just stop. Give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment if you're watching from Spotify. Leave me a comment or a like if you're watching from YouTube. Actually, I think we're around like 25. I'll check it. But I'm trying to get to 50. If we go over 50, that's also a plus. Thank you so much in advance. Okay, I'm not feeling too well, and that's not the reason why I am wearing a jacket today. I don't know why I'm wearing a jacket. It just fits the look. And also, if you're not watching, you can check this out on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Elyse the Fox. Make sure you tap in. I feel like it's the best experience when you get to watch the podcast. But to each their own, no judgment. You can listen to it and watch it. I'm not feeling too well today. And spring is here, which feels really amazing. But I have this thing. It's not a condition. Like that's not it at all. But I get sick every time the weather changes, whether it's spring, summer, fall, like the day the weather actually changes, I just feel whack, like all out of whack. And the past week, I've been feeling off, like tired, just irritable. I've been still being very social, but I'm like, is this like the end of Elyse? Like, I don't know what's going on. Is this my demise? Because I just been feeling very imbalanced. Come to find out, I'm just PMSing. So all is well. I know I had y'all scared, but I'm all good. And well, I'm not all good. I'm a little bit sick, under the weather, and it's like the double whammy, like being on my period. But we move, we strive, and we get things done. I am so happy that it's spring because I feel like I really triumphed through winter. I was very outside, very social. I made sure I didn't like fall into my hole of depression. I made sure that I was always like on the up and up, even when I did feel those feelings coming. So I feel like shout out to me. I did a good job, and the benefit is watching the flowers bloom in the next couple of months. So let's jump into which era am I beginning, which era am I ending. My end of an era is me being a horrible texter. And I used to be so good at texting. I used to prioritize texting a lot more, and I was a lot less busy, so that kind of makes sense. I had more time on my hands. But I think I've gotten really bad with just like keeping my phone on D&D, letting messages stack up, letting conversations just dwindle, and conversations that require a response. It's not just like sending updates in passing. I want to get better at like being more responsive, especially to my core friend group and everyone outside of that friend group too. And I want to just be more mindful and respectful to people who are reaching out to me and sending me messages. And, even if it's just like funny memes and stuff, I just want to be more responsive and thoughtful in my replies to people. Is anyone else like that? Like 1,000 messages unread or just unresponded to? I love that we have the unread feature, but that's also very much having me crash out even more because I'll read something and then mark it as unread and say I'm going to come back to it, and then I hardly ever do, unless you're like if you're in that like my everyday communication friend group or like my closest friends. I really don't prioritize it as much, but I want to get better, and I'm going to get better. And you get better when you talk about it and you have people hold you accountable. So if you're texting me and I haven't texted you back, like be like, girl, I just listened to your podcast. You need to do better. I'm going to be better, but it won't take much because I'm already pretty awful. So we'll see how we land in the next month or so, but I'm going to work on it for sure. And something that I am beginning, this is like perfect for the new season change, but I'm going to have selective exhaustion. I'll explain what that is. So I'm someone who prioritizes rest no matter what. If I'm out somewhere and I'm having like a decent time, I'm like, I need to go home and get my 8 hours of sleep. Like, I don't care. This party is fun. This event is fun, but sleep, there's no more. There's not much more fun than sleep. But I really don't want to not even miss out, but I've been going to some incredible events and gatherings, and I've been invited into really special rooms. And I don't want to let sleep be the barrier for me to network, to meet great people, to have life-changing experiences, because I have had some pretty life-changing experiences just by being in certain rooms, to be honest. And I don't want to let sleep really guide my life in the way that it has, or just stop my life in the way that it has. So I'm going to have selective exhaustion where I know I'm going to be tired in the morning. I know I have to take Basil to school in the morning, but this can be an opportunity for me to grow, whether it's in my career, whether it's in my personal life, whether it's within mastery, if I'm learning something new. I want to be more selective with my time and my rest and like making sure that I have the best of both worlds, because I have to be a whole person at the end of the day. And yeah, I think that these experiences have really taught me in the past couple of weeks that if you just put yourself out there and be a little bit uncomfortable, or just weigh your options out when it comes to rest and having fun and having these experiences, they always work out. Like, it always works out. It always works out. And I'm going to continue to say, like, it always works out for me no matter what. So yeah, that's what I'm leaning into. Also, I want you guys to share as well. If you are like ending something in your life, please share it in the comments. If you're beginning something new that's really exciting, or if it's scary, or you just want help or questions or advice, like drop that in the comments. Like, we can have a conversation about it. I would love to just hear from you and hear about the different changes and the ebbs and flows of my listeners. Oh my God, speaking of my listeners, I looked at the map of people who listen to End of an Era, and it's mainly in the US, but I saw that we were in Austria, Spain, the United Kingdom, which doesn't surprise me either, and Canada, and some parts of Asia, which I was like, shout out to y'all. I love this. I love it here. I never look at the analytics because I just don't want to get in my head with the validation of it all. I've been just like creating just to create. I haven't checked any numbers. The only numbers I've checked are like how many comments or reviews that I've received. If I'm getting a negative review and if I'm saying something that's offensive, I kind of want to know that so I don't continue. But I looked at the map of listeners and I was so hyped. I'm like, yes, I'm reaching so many people. And I was actually in a meeting with somebody from Highest Nobiety, and they said like, I love your podcast. Like, we listen to your podcast. And I'm like, okay, it feels good. It feels good. I'm not doing it for any type of validation. Like, this is literally my bedroom yap sesh. So the fact that people relate and can resonate with what I'm saying, it feels good. I'm recording this 1 week before it releases. I usually record on the Saturday before I release, and it was such a long night. Like, the same way I told you that I get sick before or when the season changes, Basil, my son, he has the same thing. So last night I put him to bed, normal time. He goes to bed around like 7:30. And then at 10 o'clock, he's coming into my room like, hey, like, I don't want to sleep with you. And I was like, okay, I let him lay down for a little bit. He starts snoring. And I could just tell, if you have a kid, by the way that they breathe, you can look into their eyes and see like the puffiness. You can just tell when your kid is sick. And I was like, oh, he's coming down with something. Like, he can't stay here for too long because I'm going to get really sick. So he comes in and he's just like snoring, and I put him back in his bed, which is such a hard feat for me. I feel so accomplished when I get to put him back in his bed, and then I get to go back into my room and go right to sleep because that boy is getting heavy. But anyway, I put him back in his bed around 10:30. Sorry, I put him back in his bed around midnight. I came back into my room and I just kind of like was on my phone, crashed out. Then I woke up around 4 a.m. And what did I wake up to, you ask? 2 legs just wrapped around my neck and the loudest snoring, like it was giving like lawnmower in my ears. It was so loud, and it was around 4 a.m. I'm like, who is this? Obviously I knew it was Basil, but he came back in my room and he was just breathing on everything, snoring, a little coughing. And I was like, that's going to do me in. Like, that's definitely going to do me in. So I let him sleep in my bed because I was like, I'm already contaminated. We might as well just quarantine together. And he woke up with a little runny nose, and I feel like I have a sore throat, and this is going to be a short episode. So that's a long-winded way of saying this is going to be a shorter episode because I am not feeling too hot. My medicine just kicked in. I just had a smoothie, so I'm on that vitamin C high, and we're going to knock this podcast out and just ramble and yap and just talk about topics that are happening online and in the news. This isn't going to be a news podcast at all, but I think there are some topics that should be discussed or just brought up for conversation with myself. So yeah, let's jump in. In the spirit of it being spring, do you all ever have this feeling like when you work on something, you put all your time and effort into it, you create it, and you try to perfect it as much as possible before it goes out into the world. And then once you release it, you have this like inevitable feeling of just like sadness, and not sadness of like sending your kid off to college. It's like something like letting go, something about letting it go. Like, I always get sad when I release a new project because, one, I think I put so much time and focus and a lot of energy into the things that I put out into the world. Like, I like to plan out as much as I possibly can. But I don't know if it's just me or other creators face this. Like, once you put something out into the world, you get like a little bit sad. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what it is, but I've been feeling that way with things that I'm working on, and I'm excited about the projects that I'm working on, but they are very time consuming. And I know I'm going to have those, like, I call them high school goggles. So high school goggles are essentially when you're in high school. I didn't really like high school that much. I went to three different high schools. It was okay. It was fine. And it was just, I feel like I was being held back a lot because I don't know, traditional education just has its faults for many reasons, but I think me bouncing around also didn't help because people were able to make those like core friends. And by junior year, they've known their friends since freshman year, and they had like a legacy friendship. And I would come in as like kind of the third wheel friend or the fifth wheel friend. And or I would just like kind of be by myself. Like I went to school in South Carolina for a year, and I was very much like, y'all are weird down here. I don't really want to hang out with any of you. I had a couple people that I hung out with, and I played basketball, but I didn't really enjoy myself or my high school experience as a whole. But when I was graduating, I remember thinking like, wow, like once you graduate high school, you are never coming back to this. Like all of this schedule, this flow, even the people that you don't like, the teachers that you do like, the students that you like, you'll never see them again in the same way, or you're not going to spend that much time with them. And you get a little sad, even though you didn't have the best experience. The fact that this era is ending in your life, it's kind of sad. But honestly, when you get out of it and like 2 months after, you don't even think about high school anymore. So I feel like with projects, it's kind of like that same feeling when I work on a project, release it into the world. It's kind of like that. I'm graduating high school and I'm looking back at all of the good times, but you can still move on. I think I'm solving my own problem as I'm talking this through, but you can move on. You can also start other projects. You could also advance your education in college. Like, yeah, there are parallels there. And I think I kind of solved my own inevitable demise of, or my inevitable sadness when I release things into the world. But let me know if you experience this too, or if it's just an Elyse thing. Another thing I've been thinking about is I fear that my spiritual practice has left me way too comfortable being by myself, and not in a way of, oh, I'm like not dating or anything. Like, no, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine there. I have great friends. I have great people in my life. But I really, really, really enjoy my alone time so much, like so much. And I don't know if it's because I'm a mom, but I will prioritize my alone time over so many other things. And I know it's important to have time for yourself, to have time to work on yourself, be alone with your thoughts. But I find myself thinking about, even in marriage, I might not want to even live with my partner. Like I'm so here for like having the split apartments or like the split homes where you have your side, I have my side, or like if I'm with someone, they have their own place, I have my own place, and we come together and meet. Like that feels so true to me. And I feel like I'm too young to be feeling this way, but I've grown to know exactly what makes me tick, and living with men is not something that I'm interested in. I live with a 5-year-old now, and living with a man it's about the same thing. So I don't know if I want to put myself in that position. It's just so wild to say. But I've like really come to enjoy my alone time. And if you didn't know, I'm Buddhist. So like Buddhism just helps you understand your own powers as a being, as your own God. Not saying that I'm like higher power than anyone else, but like you learn the powers that you have. Everyone in this world is a God. They just have to use their powers for good. We just have to use our powers to give back. We have to use what we have to educate and uplift. And I think the work that I do, well, I know the work that I do supports my spiritual practice because I'm constantly giving back to people who have less than me or don't have opportunities that I have. And I think the closest you can get to being godly is giving back at every chance you can. $5. I remember when I started giving out like just cash to houseless people, people start giving out like quarters and dimes. And one of my, call him like my spiritual guru, he was like, are you going to miss $5? And I'm like, probably not. Like, I probably won't miss $5. So I started making these jars, and they'll have like wipes, Q-tips, little notes, manifestations, some candies, some like easy candies to chew. And then I would put like $5, $10, $20 in these jars. And as I would drive around and see houseless people, when I would give them those jars, they would light up. Like they will literally light up and some people would cry. This one man said to me, like, it's my birthday. I haven't got a birthday gift in so long. Like, thank you so much. And it was around my birthday. And I was like, oh, you have Capricorn, like big cap season. He's like, yeah, like I never get a gift for Christmas or my birthday, but like this is my birthday gift. And I'm like, I'm so happy that you're happy. And usually when I give them that $5 or $10, they stop asking other people for money because that's all they really wanted. They wanted to just buy a meal. They wanted to buy maybe some drugs. They wanted to buy a snack, whatever it is. That one jar just solved their issues for at least that moment. So I said that to say I have really leaned into how I can always be a support to other people. And I always go back and think about what I can do more for others. And in my solitude is where I can get those best thoughts, where I have the best thoughts. And it's interesting. It's interesting. I really love spending time with myself. Don't get me wrong. There's some people in this world that I love hanging out with, like love hanging out with. But to be honest, my closest friends, my best friends, they live out of state or upstate. So I don't really get to see them as often. So I do have a lot of friends who are, transplants in New York City or acquaintances who are content creators, but it doesn't give me that same feeling of like my OG friends or my friends who aren't in the same space as me where we can just talk about things that don't involve content or brand deals or food, restaurants in New York City. Like it's just, I don't know, it's a different vibe. So I think I just fall into my isolation, but I'm not mad at it. But I'm sure there's something there that needs to be studied or discussed because I really do love being alone. I can be alone for an incredibly long time. And I'm not saying alone like without Basil. Basil, I feel like he's my Pikachu. Wherever I am, he is too. But like alone, even being in a space where I can just be alone with my thoughts and not have to worry about checking in with anyone. I've become so comfortable in isolation. I hope that it's a sign that I'm learning and growing and accepting who I am as a person. Oh, did you guys hear that segregation is back? Interesting, right? It's so funny because Black people just want to be left alone. At the end of the day, we just want to be left alone. And I don't know why we can't just live our lives, have our own trends, have our own dances, have our own hairstyles without being tapped into, for lack of better words. But segregation is supposed to come back, and I'm kind of not mad at it. But the thing about it is, history will always repeat itself. And if you didn't learn in school, which I didn't learn in school, I knew about Black Wall Street, but I didn't know like all of the intricacies of Black Wall Street and how incredible it was. It came from obviously segregation. Like Black people had to create their own banks. They had to have their own doctors. We had to have our own parks. We had to have our own restaurants, everything. And we know the power of the Black dollar now, but back then it was still comparable. So the fact that we were able to create our own world and we were thriving, that still didn't satisfy the white people because they ended up burning it down, leaving over 300 people dead in the Tulsa fires. Businesses were just burned down. Thousands were homeless because of segregation. Choices that y'all made. We created something that was beneficial for ourselves out of segregation, but still we were bothered. So my only apprehension, or that's not my only, but my biggest apprehension is that we can come together and bring our dollars together. What are we, like a $2 trillion? Black people have a $2 trillion spend in the US, and we are the most powerful with our dollar out of any group of Black people in the world. And I don't think that, I just know that we can do it. Like we can get through this segregation, but we won't be left alone. We will not have peace. So what will come after? Like what is going to be our fight once they come knocking on our door to tear down what we've built for ourselves? That's the scariest part about the segregation. It's like a lot of the restaurants y'all are segregating us against. I would never go in there. I don't want Cracker Barrel. I don't want none of that food that y'all have anyway, but it's the fact that, we'll know. And I kind of just want to know, if you don't want me in your space, or if you only want a certain certain type of Black person in your space, I don't want to be there anyway. So like put it on the wall, be as racist as you know you are, and keep it pushing. But I'm just worried about the retaliation when we do begin to thrive and we do begin to create our own lanes again. We get to create our own businesses. We get to create our own Black Wall Street 2025. Like what does that look like for our safety? What does that look like for our children? And what does that look like for the future of the Black dollar? It's scary. And I know that companies are already seeing it, as I shared in my last podcast, Target being one of them. I'm sure Walmart is experiencing it as well. But our spend means so much that I'm wondering what the retaliation would be with us pulling back our dollar and pouring it back into the Black community, because it's kind of scary to think about, to be honest. You guys, I really need a vacation. I don't know what it is about sitting on the beach. I know exactly what it is. I'm supposed to be on the beach. I'm supposed to be in a tropical area. I think people who are children of immigrants, especially from the Caribbean, we need the sun. Like, we need the sun. We all need the sun, but I feel like us especially, we need that sun to re-energize and to recharge ourselves. And I haven't been on vacation since December, and I know that's not that long because it's only mid-March, but I used to go somewhere every single month. Whether it was just a trip to Miami for the weekend, I would be out. I had to recharge in the sun. And I'm kind of struggling with Basil being in like a traditional school, because if he's late to school, they'll email me and ask me, why is he late? Do you have a note? And I'm like, dang, like, hey, I just, he just overslept a little bit. But now I'm like, I mean, in the past, I used to just be able to take him and like, we'll go on a plane, he would just say, I want to go to the beach. And I'll say, okay, book a flight to the beach and we'll be outside and just having the best time. So I'm really struggling with like his traditional school schedule and not being able to just pick up and go. But I also know that my friend brought this up to me. She said that vacations are an investment in yourself and your wellness and your self-care. And I haven't been shopping like I usually do. I haven't purchased anything expensive. I've actually haven't purchased any clothing in a hot little minute. If I do get something, it's because I like sold my clothes at Buffalo Exchange and I got store credit. So it's kind of like girl math. I didn't spend a single dollar. But I don't know, I'm yearning to go somewhere. I need to get out of this country. I just need to breathe for a second, and what better way to do that than on the beach? But here's my dilemma. I don't really want to travel until Basil was out of school, which is it's so hard to even like think that far out. But I want to travel somewhere in June. June is when like hurricane season starts in the Caribbean. If you have any recommendations for islands that are in the Caribbean that aren't really devastated by the hurricanes and the weather and the rainstorms, all of that during the summer, please let me know, because I am yearning. I am, dare I say, fiending to go on vacation, because I don't know, I just need to switch things up. And I always come back just with more energy, of course, better ideas, a clearer mindset, a clearer head, a heart full of love. And I just need that real bad. So the last thing I want to talk about before we wrap is just some internet safety for my content creator girls, because I know that it feels like an urgency or like a race to show so many parts of your life and be as exploitive as possible. Exploitive, to exploit your life as much as possible. But trust me, that is not the way to go. So I've seen a few stories in the past couple weeks, of course, from women being stalked and harmed by men. And it is very disheartening to see as someone who does create content. So just practice a little bit of mindfulness when you are posting, whether you're posting like your car, like don't show the outside of your car, your license plate, because that can be easily traced. I even look at some cars sometimes. Like if a guy tries to talk to me and he's in a nice car, I will look up his license plate and see how many tickets he has on that on that car. Trust me. Like you can find out so much just from your license plate number, or just someone knowing which building you live in and seeing where your car is. They can look at the parking space number and find out which apartment that belongs to. There are so many ways for people to find you if they really want to find you. Your job is to make it as hard as possible for people to locate you where you are. So one thing I always do or don't do is I don't post when I'm at a place. Like if I'm at an event, I'll post once I leave the event, I'm safely in my car and I'm on my way home, or the next day. I don't post live. I don't really feel the urge to post live anymore. It's not safe. I don't post my son's like living space, his living quarters. I don't post anything with me dropping him off to school or picking him up, or sometimes he has like Spirit Week where he'll have a T-shirt on with his school's name on it. I don't post anything with his school name on it, which is, it seems obvious, but I've been seeing a lot of creators. They're typically like non-Black creators that I see that'll post their kids like first day of kindergarten, and they'll be holding that sign with like the teacher's name and all this stuff. Like that is so easy to track and trace, especially if somebody knows what city you're in. In New York City, it's hard to find like which apartment somebody lives in, but it's honestly not that hard. But I would say in like those smaller towns where if you live in a small area, you can kind of clock things and you can make things connect easier, I would say. So just be mindful of how much you share. and how much you give to the world and how much you give to the industry, because it is messed up right now. The industry, the influencer market, I don't even think it's an influencer market. I think it's just some Black creators are getting really great deals, and the ones who are creating like very, very high production work, they are getting exactly what they should receive. Like the Skylers of the world, like she is like top content creator when it comes to ads and like conversion. She has to be one of the top ones that I've seen that keeps me engaged. She deserves every dime. But you have to think about back in the day, companies used to put up hundreds of thousands of dollars into one shoot. I did a shoot for Olay about 7 years ago, and my fee, that was the most I've ever gotten paid from a shoot. I didn't have any agent, nothing. And I was like, bet, keeping my 20%. You feel me? Keep every single dime. I didn't have an agent, and I got paid so much. I know I got paid a little bit less than the other girls because I didn't have an agent negotiating for me, but I did get paid a significant amount. And I remember asking, because I'm always nosy on set, I want to know everything. I want to know where the cameraman is from. I want to know where the makeup artist came from. I don't know how they got this job, because that's how you network and stay connected with people. But I was asking about what the budget for the shoot was. And they said the budget was around like $1 million just for one shoot. And this is before content creation was a thing. This is before influencing was an actual market. And this goes to show you that these brands have money. They have invested money into marketing in this way. Now it really sucks because they'll throw in influencer pennies, like here's $5,000 to create a campaign, and they want you to direct it, they want you to shoot it, they want you to edit it, they want you to create the copy, they want you to create the caption for it, they want you to also send it to them, take notes, and then revise it, and then send them back a new draft as if you're an entire production team for $5,000. So I say that to say, like, just be mindful of what you're doing for free, because these brands definitely 100% have it. If you are modeling for a brand and they're using your face on a billboard or any kind of, what's it called, out of home marketing, that costs a lot of money. Like, just look up, I can go through this on another episode if you want to, about like what your fee should be, what whitelisting is. If you're going to be public facing, people love taking pictures of themselves on billboards, but I'm like, I hope you got the bag. I hope you're not just like excited just to be there. Don't just be happy to be there. Be happy to be paid and to be there too at the same time, because you should be being paid your worth. I can go through this on another episode because it's something that I feel like I have a lot of experience with, because I started modeling over 10 years ago before this was even a thing. And I remember just having to just show up with a clean face and get into the bag and then didn't have to produce content unless I wanted to. I would take my own like BTS photos and posted them if I wanted to, but half the time I didn't. And now the expectation is a lot higher for a lot lower of a dollar. So just protect yourself in many ways. I would say your safety definitely comes first. Be mindful of what you're posting, how much you're posting. If you're posting at your favorite grocery store and people can like clock exactly where it is, and you're like, I come here every Monday. No, if you're posting like a vlog series where you're talking about like, oh, I live alone, people can clock so many things about you. It's so easy for stalkers to stalk. That's what they do. So just be careful with yourself. Protect your peace, protect your sanity, protect your heart, protect your soul, protect everything, because I want y'all to be safe. I need to take some more medicine. Thank you so much for listening to the End of an Era podcast. I'm your host, Elyse Fox, and friendly reminder, we're trying to get to 50 5-star reviews by the end of March. We're almost halfway there, so let's get to that 50 mark. If you're listening to this, just drop me a comment on Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and comment. Please subscribe. Like, I want to create a YouTube family. I'm going to be posting vlogs very, very soon. I'm excited for that too. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us at the End of an Era _pod, and then my personal Instagram is Elyse _Fox. Have a great weekend. Take care. And this is the End of an Era. See you soon, of course. Later.